whale community, and welcome to Whale FM. Today we have Michael Yamashita and Zoe Winters here to chat with us about their history and art and photography and the new NFT project that they are working on. We are very honored to have you both here. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
You, Candy.
I'm so excited. So we have for the community, let's start with a background because I have not done a good job of introducing you. Michael he's been a National Geographic photographer and many awards and so many. I saw your TEDx talk. I was scrolling through looking for things. And then we've got Zoe as well, who just graduated recently with her art and Japanese degree. And they have come together. So let's start with Michael. If you could give us a little bit of your history of like how you got to where you are with photography. Like what was the spark that you're like, this is what I need to do?
Okay, well, photography, I've been doing this for 40 years, mostly for National Geographic, and I'm still doing it. So, yeah, I'm one of the veterans, and I've done 34 stories, which is a lot by anybody's counting, and still working in my area of interest and expertise, which is Asia. And yeah, I got started as most amateurs start by I was in Japan on a roots trip, and with my name and face, I wanted to see, okay, well, how much Japanese is in me, because I grew up in America without any. Well, my mother and father, my father worked for a Japanese company, and so there's that connection, but never been to Japan. And of course, as most Asian Americans who everyone thinks first you're Japanese or whatever your ethnicity is. So they'd say, oh yeah, Japan. Well, I had a great trip there. And of course I'd never been. So, it was, and that's what they want to know. Where are you really from? Which is a cliche that Asian Americans are used to hearing. So I went to Japan, I bought a camera, and like most amateurs, I was sending pictures back to my family and friends just to show them kind of what my experiences were, and I got hooked in on the camera, and I ate, slept, and drank photography for a number of years, and it wasn't that long. After about 4 years, and 3 of which were spent traveling in Asia, I came back with a portfolio, went to the Geographic, and really that simply I got my first assignment, and it was a big success. It was on Hokkaido, and since I had been to Japan, I was a cocky young photographer, went in there and said I'd do a better job than any of your guys because I am Japanese American, and I speak the language, and I know Hokkaido, Japan. And so anyway, I got the assignment. I've never looked back. It's been a long and successful career. And anyway, I'm used to traveling 6 months a year, and now there is none. So I haven't traveled in a year and a half, which people are thinking, wow, you must miss the travel. But actually, I am so project focused. I don't miss the travel. I go out with a camera to do stories, and without the focus of a story in a project, I'm content to travel through my archive because, as I know from most of my followers on Instagram, there are a lot of bucket listers out there and people who, of course, are photography enthusiasts, but for me, it's not of great interest to go to, as my friends suggest, why don't you go to the Grand Canyon? There's great pictures to be taken there, and I'm sure they are, but without the story, I'm just there shooting what everybody else shoots, and that doesn't get me anywhere. So anyway, this is what I've been doing, and thanks to the pandemic shutdown, I got into NFTs. But if you want me to continue, I can tell you that I'm not new to NFTs either, and that, excuse me, I'm not new to crypto and all of this, because my two nephews, one in Paris, lives in Paris, French citizen, Ben, and during the shutdown, he also got into, it's not his main job, but he is minting, excuse me, he's a miner on the French grid out of Paris, and my other nephew in Hong Kong, Alex, is marketing cryptocurrencies. So, and they both said somewhere around December last year, when the family kind of gets together for Christmas and we're online and talking, and they said, "Oh, you got to get into this Bitcoin because it was 25,000 then, and then suddenly it went up to 60." And of course, I didn't do that, but that was kind of a wake-up call. And I thought, wow, there's something to be said about this, especially when your nephews are telling you, kind of giving you the hot tip, and you didn't take it. So anyway, I've been around it a while, and then when Beeple's announcement came, well, then every one of my photographer friends were going, "What's an NFT, and how do you access?" And so then came I did a lot of research and did a lot of looking at NFTs out there, and went to websites and Instagram and tried to see as much as I could, and it's a different world. And I have a little team here, as you can see. I'm only good for shooting, so when it comes to doing a lot of other stuff, I engage people who know a lot more than I do. So I have Zoe, who as an established artist has contributed by showing me a lot of the tools, and we've been working together to produce these first NFTs, and so that's how the whole thing started. But I feel like I'm doing all the talking, so maybe I don't know how you want to run it. Maybe you can ask me another question, whatever.
Absolutely. So I think it's very interesting, and for our community here in Wales, it's really kind of encompasses people on all different parts of their journey, whether they're just beginning or they've been crypto native almost here forever. And so hearing your story, and how you kind of onboarded and found NFTs during the pandemic and the quarantine, that's super common with a lot of folks because, well, everybody was stuck at home. So what are you going to do? You're going to end up online. You're going to start looking into things, and that's what's happening. And so not only, did, Bitcoin jump and you found, different ways to make income, but the NFTs really also helped form a lot of communities and make those connections that people were suddenly missing because they couldn't go out and do the normal socializing that they would. So it's, for you coming in at this point, is really exciting because now you're being able to join kind of the communities that have already formed, and also, as you mentioned that you have all your Instagram followers, be able to introduce them to the metaverse through your work. And so that's a pretty exciting thing. And I would say maybe we could talk to Zoe and see about her background. And I know that, you said you just graduated, but how did you go from getting a degree in art and Japanese to also kind of joining up with Mike here and getting into the NFT scene?
Yeah, thank you for asking, and thank you for the introduction. So I'll give you a brief background. As a little girl, I was really, really in love with Godzilla. I thought that was so cool to put a personality to a monster. And then I also saw Takashi Murakami put cherries on the Louis Vuitton bags. So seeing that fashion collaboration with such a cute character, and then the awesomeness of Godzilla, I completely fell in love with Japanese entertainment and then eventually the contemporary artists. So I'd been taking the language for a long time. And right after I graduated high school, I ended up interning at Gagosian Gallery. And so after, taking drawing classes in high school and just thinking I loved drawing, I loved illustration, I went to this gallery and I saw what a contemporary artist could really become, what they could really be, and the possibilities. I think if I'd gone straight into my degree, I wouldn't really have known that contemporary art world existed. And so I went to get that career capital in college. I really needed it. And so half of my degree was traditional art. I'm really focusing in illustration. And then the other half of my degree was digital art, a lot of animation and film courses alongside the traditional art. And so basically my whole college career, I was focusing on building those skills. And then it's really crazy. About 4 months ago, I had some friends who were also doing digital art, and my connections from working in the gallery before that kind of led me into Clubhouse. And that's where I started hearing about NFTs and learning more about NFTs. And by then I had built these skills that I needed to collaborate with someone like Ben Baller, who had bought my illustrations before because he really liked them. I ended up collaborating with him on a baseball card, which was actually Matsui, who's nicknamed Godzilla in Japan, who Mike happens to also really love. And after this collaboration, I continued selling NFTs, and then I have now collaborated with Mike, which is an amazing opportunity for me. So it's just one thing after another. Building skills has led to relationships, selling NFTs, making friends in the space that I didn't have before, especially during the pandemic, because I was alone, working the whole time too. And finally graduating so I can really focus on the art and not necessarily have the rubric of courses kind of leading half of my life. So yeah, I'm so excited to be here and really excited to share what we're doing.
That is absolutely amazing. And we've got Zoe's portfolio. I'll post in the chat for people to check out, because as she was talking about building all of the skills and kind of getting her artwork up to the point where now she's doing commissions and partnering with other established artists. That's amazing. So why don't we discuss the project that you're working on? What are we, because you mentioned you've already been creating NFTs, but for the two of you together, tell us about that.
Well, I can start by saying, I have anybody who is following me, I don't know how many are following me on my Instagram, but that has been growing, and I have this audience of traditional photography enthusiasts, and as I say, a lot of bucket listers who want to go to these places that I often highlight. But how do you bridge that 40-year career shooting my art being still photography, and how do I bridge that career into to appeal to a new group of NFT people interested in NFTs, which and kind of satisfy because of the fact that I am a still photographer, how do I bridge those followers to follow me into an NFT space? So Zoe sent me so I pulled a lot of my most iconic photographs, first of all, ones that I sell regularly as prints. And so I thought that was the best place to start. And she started showing me some of these tools. And one thing you always notice about NFTs, or for me as a visual person, is there's movement and sound and motion, which is sound and motion, which is something that I never delved into. I never got interested in video. So and so suddenly I'm into this, and she showed me one particular program where she was able to take it's that sea of monks. It's actually the one that's the main attraction on this auction coming up on Monday. And yeah, that's it. And I'll tell you the circumstances. So I'm standing on a hill above this monastery, and I'm looking down into this group of monks who are fidgeting about as they're waiting for their morning prayers to start. And I'm very visible, so they're looking up at me. And as you know, before any event, people are talking and just in anticipation of what's coming up. So I was shooting photographs as these. Well, first of all, she was able to take the one kid there with the yellow scarf and animate his face so that he was changing expressions. And suddenly, boom, it kind of hit me. This is what I saw when I was actually taking the photograph. So, I'm up there with long lens, I'm looking through the finder, and each time I'm seeing different expressions on the faces of all these monks. There's maybe 100 there. I'm clicking my camera. And so here I am, I have this opportunity to take the reader, or the viewer, excuse me, back to the moment I took the photograph. And I thought, wow, wouldn't this be great if we could create through sound and motion and NFTs, a photograph or an NFT that gives the reader the feeling of being there at the moment of creation. Because you can also, if you looked at just the print, what people are looking at when they are seeing that print is they are actually doing the same thing. They're going around this photograph and looking at these faces. And the reason why you see them so clearly is because of the snow, which is that white snow is reflecting the light back into their faces. So yeah, you can see very sharply each of their individual faces. And so Zoe recreated that. And not only did we get the one kid with the yellow scarf, but we animated about a dozen or so of the other monks. So they were all kind of moving and making faces, or there's one guy there with his prayer beads, and somebody else is giving me the evil eye because he's probably not happy that I'm taking his picture. Anyway, this is all going on, and this is how people view it. And now we can recreate that moment. And so it has been also with the other photographs in the NFT collections.
And that's really interesting because, as we're watching it, not only like the image during the preview is kind of zooming in and out, but you can see, depending on which person you're looking at, he's kind of slightly tilting his head. You've got this one who's kind of looking down and then up and tilting his head slightly. There's some blinking. There's a lot going on. And I think that's really interesting because a lot of times, like if you're looking at a really compelling photo, your mind sometimes will play tricks on you where you almost see these movements that aren't there. And now you've created the movements are there, which is fascinating.
Yeah, AI, it just opened my eyes. And I have to thank Zoe's creativity for making that happen, because I had no idea that this was possible. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I'll add to that. So this one was really fun to animate, and 90% of the pieces, so we have one collaboration piece, which is both styles, and then we have his traditional photography collection, which my main goal was to really bring the viewer into the moment that he was there, while also preserving the photographic quality. That was so important as I did all the post-processing. And we actually worked with a company called DID, who had their hands on the faces of the monks first, and we went in and they meticulously animated the different kinds of expressions. And then I went and stitched it in using After Effects and then also post-processing in Adobe Premiere Pro. So adding in the light that hits the monks, kind of making it look like a sea, and then also adding in the snow in different layers. So yeah, I'm super happy with it, and this photo is amazing. Obviously, like at first when I saw it, I was like, did he really get a photo of all these monks at once? Like, is this a real scene? But yeah, I mean, it's breathtaking. So it was really fun to bring to life for sure.
There are so many faces there, and so
Right.
many opportunities to capture different expressions, the different emotions, and having all of those in one space right here, as you both mentioned, it does really bring it to life and make it feel as if you were really there, which is a magical sort of thing to do.
And I love the snow falling because that's what was. I mean, this is for real. So.
Yeah, and you can see the snow that had accumulated on their robes there as they're staying covered. So having it, kind of falling in the image just does make so much sense, being able to experience that. Wow. And so you said that this is the main image that you've illustrated, and the others in the collection are standard photographs. Is that?
Well, I have one that is a straight photograph. It's been very popular. It's a Jomtsugi. It's arguably the oldest tree in the world. Some think it's as old as 7,000 years, and it just happens to be have a face on it, or
So
unmistakable too.
The tree one, I think, is the last one on that page. The gold tier is the collaboration piece. Sorry, Mike. And then if you scroll down, the tree he's talking about. Yeah, right there.
That's again, I am a still photographer, and so we throw one in there that resonates well. That people, again, the wonderful thing about Instagram is it's somewhat like NFTs in that you have no middle person who's telling you what to post, and it goes directly to the my followers who then make comments, and that's, for me, has always been part of the experience, is just to have that direct feedback. So anyway, we chose this among many photographs to represent my still career. So anyway, that's how that was chosen.
Perfect. And that is an amazing photograph. And I think it's interesting, that you are drawing the parallels between, the Instagram and creating that community on social media and being able to curate your collection on Instagram, because that is really kind of the basis for jumping into NFT collections, where for, someone like me who is not taking those photographs, but I want to collect them. Like, it feels very disingenuous to take them from your Instagram and put them on my own. Like, it's not, super cool. But if I were to get the NFT, now I actually have a claim to the piece that you've created, and that's something that I can participate in and kind of authentically join the experience and put that in my showcase and show it off. And, that's, I think, kind of the cool progression from, simply having social media and having those communities to having the ability to kind of compensate the creators for what they're doing and also be able to be more directly invested in the projects.
Yeah, very much agree with all of that.
And so you had mentioned, Zoe, you're kind of in Clubhouse, doing the Clubhouse scene, learning about NFTs. Is that something that you are still doing? Is that kind of the primary way, aside from interacting on Instagram, which you both have? Now that you're dropping NFTs, how are you connecting with your community in that sense?
Yeah, I am definitely continuing NFTs. It's kind of my career path right now. I'm working on digital collectibles because I've always drawn collectible kind of characters, but merging the contemporary art world with NFTs, like a lot of the artists I really look up to already, like James Jean, now Mike is doing it. Friends with You, they've merged the contemporary art world with NFTs. So I'm continuing my own style into the space. And the collaboration piece we did has a lot of my 3D modeled characters and also flowers. And what's really cool about the textures is I actually put Mike's photo kind of deformed digitally, but onto the various flowers. So his other photographs are even on the flowers that I animated coming out of this world, which has his bonsai photograph on it. So kind of stepping into my career, and the digital characters that I'm creating are going to be various story animations, but they'll have a lot of different elements coming out of them now that I've kind of built the skills to do that and create this post-processing animated short. So that's how I'm continuing on, definitely in NFTs and learning as much as I can along the way.
And I would say this is the piece that you were mentioning as you were describing having the flowers coming out of the earth. And
yeah, it's called Evolutions, and every single one of my works has quite a significant underlying emotional meaning. And in this one, the concept of impermanence, nothing lasting forever, but the continuous blooming is kind of stepping into a better way of being continuously and growing. And it's especially timely because coming out of the pandemic, I feel like this is kind of what we're doing as a society, walking into a new state of being. So yeah, as soon as I saw this bonsai photo, I had an image in my head and I was so excited to execute this idea. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And that is an amazing photo there, and that is part of the drop as well. So as we're sitting here admiring it, and I will tell people I was not projecting the sound, but it does have music in the background as well. So for the community looking at this, if you click on it on the site, you'll hear that. And it's a 3 out of 3 limited edition, it looks like. So that's really amazing, being able to have these different tiers, these different NFTs. There's also a token. Why don't let's talk about this, because I think this is interesting, as I've seen looking at your project here and kind of your goals for the project and being kind of connected to the world as a Nat Geo photographer. How, we've had a lot of talk about, the impact of NFTs on the ecosystem. And it looks like you're actually kind of taking action there.
Well, that's the other thing you can't help but see is a lot of discussion about the carbon footprint of mining NFTs. And as a geographic photographer, I've always been a big champion of the environment, as well as all my colleagues, and the magazine itself is kind of the spokesperson for the environmental movement. They are every issue, every part of the geographic is pretty much about climate change and what we can be doing about it. So I needed to do something positive for the environment here, and again, through my team, we decided to come up with a way to pay back, and through buying carbon credits and give back to the environment and lessen that carbon footprint of mining NFTs. And so we launched this initiative on Earth Day, and the idea was let's figure out how much the cost of the electricity of mining all the NFTs up until Earth Day. And I can't tell you how that particular figure of 1.6 million came up, but I don't know, maybe there's another person in my team, maybe Zoe can tell you how, or if Jason's around, can tell you about how that happened. But yes, that's the idea of it. So we will pay. We will buy 1.6 million in carbon credits for to offset the carbon footprint of minting, and that's a big part of this sale is putting money to that very good cause.
And I think that's a really interesting thing, right? Is that we have the ability to make an impact on the real world through our actions in the metaverse. And this is, one of those things that you've made it a part of your entire project to make sure that you are doing good for the world and have integrated that so fully into the drop here. So kudos to you for kind of keeping on with that same, geographic focus and being able to ensure that we will continue to have things to photograph and turn into NFTs.
Yeah.
So that is really exciting. So what else can you tell us about this collaboration and this drop? And it looks like, there's a tiered reward package from the collection. The countdown says it's about a day and 9 hours left, so we're getting close.
Yeah, getting very excited myself. But it's the first one I've done, and so yeah, I'm all new to this, and yes, very I'm very proud of the work that we did, and I've been looking out there for other NFTs that might look like mine. I don't see anything that looks like mine, and I must say that of my National Geographic colleagues, there have been only one or two that have delved into this space. And anyway, so I'm kind of a pioneer, and we're all waiting with great anticipation to see how it all shakes out. But anyway, and it's all about to happen. So we'll see. Anyway, please have a look at whoever's out there at the possibilities.
Yeah. Why don't we bring Jason in to talk about the various tiers and benefits?
Absolutely.
We can.
We can. If Jason is ready, we will add him to the stream there. And so he should be able to unmute himself to join in the conversation and explain to us a little bit about the technical side of the drop. And we see him as well. Jason, welcome.
Hey, everybody. I think my connection is a bit poor. I'm going to just try refreshing the page and I'll be back.
Sure thing. So we will have Jason rejoining, but we also have the auction details up on the screen. And as we've covered so far, this is something that will start tomorrow. And Jason is back.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me now?
About the drop, we can. Thank you very much. So Jason, tell us about the technical side of this drop. So we know that it starts tomorrow in 1 day and 9 hours, but there's tiers to it and some other conditions. So what have we got?
Okay, so again, apologies because I keep cutting in and out, but I guess that's just the nature of my Wi-Fi. So the auction runs for 48 hours, starting at 10 p.m. EDT, so it's Eastern time, with daylight savings. We have 4 different tiers. We have the platinum tier, the gold tier, silver tier, and bronze tier. Now, for the platinum tier winner, which is Heedless of the Snow, previously in a still form known as the Sea of Monks, that includes this one-of-one NFT that's powered by DID's facial AI software. Again, post-production by Zoe Winters. We have this long descriptor of what Mike was doing, thinking in the background of his research target at the time. In addition to an off-chain benefit, we have $8,000 of reimbursement for someone to go shoot with, of course, the one and only Mike. Then, in addition to that, we have blockchain benefits that include a large print, dimensions seen on the page, in addition to a Lava Smart ID tag. Lava is an Australian company that does a QR code that's doubly as safe, that will be imprinted on the corner of every print, that allows you to experience your NFT, and additional audio of Mike talking about the story of the shot that he took, and it can verify the provenance of your NFT both on and off chain. If that wasn't enough, wait, there's more. Shout out Billy Mays. We have all the rewards from the gold tier, all the rewards from the silver tier, and all the rewards, sorry about that, of the bronze tier, all as a reward. So if we could go to the gold tier, please. We, of course, have 3 of 3 limited edition NFT of Mike Yamashita and Zoe winner collaboration, Blooming Planet. Now, the platinum tier winner will win this NFT, but there will be 2 other people who don't have the platinum NFT, Heedless of the Snow, that will also win Evolutions. Now, this comes with the off-chain benefit of a medium print, in addition to the same smart ID tag that will be on the print. Of course, then all the silver tier rewards and all the bronze tier rewards. If we go to the Jomonsugi, we have the Jomonsugi NFT, which again, really rare photograph. People can no longer even take this photo. This was taken in 1993. This also will be paired with a Lava Smart ID tag, authenticating it anywhere you want. You can print it, carry around with you, but the Lava Smart ID tag will then specifically be linked with the Jomonsugi. And again, you'll include all the rewards of the bronze tier, and similar to all of the other tiers, each winner will get those subsequent tiers NFTs. So this 8 of 8 actually is even more limited. There won't be 8 people that own this per se. There'll only be 6. So, and then finally we have My Earth carbon negative token. So in essence, the top bidders, a part of this auction, will win the limited edition NFT token. Now, the fun utility of it here is that, of course, it comes with a Lava Smart ID fingerprint, but you can also burn this token later to redeem something like an off-chain benefit that Mike will reveal after the auction. So, of course, that's a lot of the on and off-chain benefits, but what's really undergirding this whole auction, which Mike was alluding to earlier, the 1.6 million USD that's going to go to funding renewable energy credits that were created by renewable energy sources and projects. And this isn't on the secondary market. We're targeting first market carbon offsets. And we're doing that by partnering with Cataman's environmental division. And the purpose of that is so that we can then directly, not on the secondary market, so no intermediary, no platform fees, we're looking at directly funding and spurring renewable energy mining, renewable energy creation for the purpose of helping the places that Mike has created and made his career and has shared with us via the geographic. Now, the 146,000 tons of CO2 we got from every NFT that was minted as of Earth Day, and every NFT per proof of work blockchain transaction creates around 0.23 tons of CO2. You multiply that times the circa 630,000 NFTs that were created at the time, and then you get this 146,000 tons of CO2 that if we were to offset with renewables, again, the upper bound would be 1.6 million based off of solar carbon credits, solar renewables that are the most expensive, you arrive at the 1.6 million figure. So I hope that makes sense.
That does. Jason, thank you so much for giving such a detailed explanation on how we get those figures, what we're doing with the tiers. That's really important for people to understand the direct impact that this is making. and understand, as they're bidding on the auction, what they'll be getting, because there are a lot of things happening as you've got the tiers kind of stacking up on top of each other, and being able to obtain multiple pieces of art here in the NFT space through this type of an auction, and having the increasing rarities of the higher you go. So that's very good for people to understand. Much appreciated. And with that, I know that we are at about the ending time that we had scheduled, so I don't want to hold you all later in case you have other plans. But is there anything that we haven't touched on that you think that we should share with the community before we close up for the day?
I don't have anything particular to add. I'm just waiting with anticipation, and I'm very excited myself, and yeah, looking forward to the next couple of days. I know there are going to be chat rooms before and after the actual auction. So I'll be on again tomorrow night, I think, and then on Tuesday after it's all over. So I'll be able to tell you firsthand how it's going and how it went. So.
Perfect. And I am going to be keeping a very close eye to see how it goes as
Thank
well.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So excited. And our community has asked for a list of all of the links that I've shared today in one concise message. So I will share that in our Discord after the stream ends. Make sure that all of these tabs that I have open, everybody has access to. So that'll have Mike and Zoe's Instagrams, their portfolios, the website, most importantly for the NFT drop. So we'll have all of those things covered. And I really appreciate you all coming today to explain your project, give us your backstory, and welcome to the metaverse. I'm super happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you all. Thank you, Whale community, for coming and hanging out and learning more about Mike and Zoe as well. And we will close out this stream for today. I will provide the links, and we will follow up as this progresses. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.